Oi, oi, it's Heart Standard. I'm Craig Cairns, and I'm joined, as usual, by the editor of Heart Standard, Joe Sked. How are you doing today, Joe?
Yeah, not too bad. Very busy ahead of the derby. So, aside from that, all good.
That is exactly what we are here to talk about today. Preview to the big game this weekend. Two of the form teams. I think Celtic would probably still be in the form teams conversation. But yeah, you couldn't have get much better form for the two of them going into this. We will get to talk about the game more specifically. But you were at the press conference today, Joel. The headline seems to be that Camy Devlin is still a doubt, and it just seems to be that we are in the territory now where this is just an indefinite one, and we just have to wait until he's clearly still showing some symptoms and some sort of setback. So there just has to be, we're kind of in this indefinite period. As you mentioned, the last video we did, similar to what happened to Christophe Berra. Hopefully it's not as long, but yeah, we're kind of entering that period now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think he is. Neil Critchley used the term doubtful. I was going in expecting him to essentially rule him out. Didn't train on Friday ahead of the game, so I think that's pretty much a telling aspect that I just thought it would be in the case of after being ruled out for this Mirren game, he would essentially have to play or train every day up until and show no negative effects. So yeah, I would be very, very, very surprised if Camy Devlin's involved on Sunday, which is a shame. Yeah, just because something like that you do miss in Edinburgh derby, that's for sure, and with the form he's been in as well.
But that's maybe part of the reason as well. I'm sure you get lots of other high intensity matches as well. They wouldn't take the risk if there was anyway. But maybe like the first game to bring yourself back into it's maybe not the easiest one to ease yourself back in. The thing that kind of stuck out to me with the quotes, and I don't know if you felt the same, and that's why you're sounding a bit more doubtful, is that the word that's been used before the last two matches has been hopeful. The word that was used this time was doubtful. So it sounds like even Critchley, reading between the lines, it sounds like even Critchley's a little bit more pessimistic about his chances.
Yeah. I think he's, to be fair, I think he's fed up speaking or answering questions about Camy Devlin, to be honest. And it's because of how well he's been playing him, because it's the derby, it's something that everyone's wanting to know and find out. But I do think that exasperation is also a bit of frustration, not frustration with Devlin or anything like that, but frustration with the situation. That I think he's just a wee bit down that he's going to be without a really important player, certainly a key player that he's put a lot of trust in since he's come in as head coach.
Yeah, I keep coming back to it, but the formation changed when he went out the team. So that's something that we'll come on to again, assuming that he's out, whether the Hearts stick with the same formation or not. I can't remember where I was going to go next with that. In fact, let's just go into that now then. If Camy Devlin is missing, do Hearts stick with the same formation? San Francisco Jambo's got in with a comment here, which is related. Khartoum to start with Spittle on the left. I suppose that could be a diamond or the 4-4-2, but you would then need another central midfielder to come in. I suppose Neuenhof's a potential to come in there, but then you're starting two players that started in a game, not that they were necessarily to blame or anything like that, or solely to blame, but you're playing two players that just played in a sort of subpar performance midweek there. So what are your thoughts on who will start if Devlin doesn't? Is it the same again?
So this is something I want to bring James Govern's comment in here, which is saying about worried about the pace in the wings. Do you expect to stick to the diamond or move to give us more protection due to Hibs speed? And this is something I've been thinking about and going back and forth on a fair bit. And I mentioned it in the build-up to the St Mirren game. I thought the front three is probably useful against a back three because it creates space, and it makes a back three kind of second guess themselves, or the wing backs, the one kind of tuck in. And I thought he would change formation against St Mirren at home, and then go with the diamond at Easter Road. However, what Critchley will do, and what I think he probably potentially should do, might be different. So I don't really, I'm unsure what Critchley will do, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went and changed formation and basically went with Shankland in behind Cabangu. Wilson drops to the bench. Musa comes back in, and Spittle plays on the left, and then you have Neuenhoff and Benny, or Grant and Benny in the centre of the pitch. I would go for Neuenhoff just because of he's more like Grant's fine, but he's probably a bit more mobile and probably suits that fixture a wee bit more.
A wee bit more dogged, a wee bit more of a central midfielder.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good way to put it. And the reason I say with Musa is we've seen at times he's not been great on the ball or in possession, but what he's been brilliant. He's been a brilliant defensive winger, and if you put him and allow him to protect, I'm going to say Forrester, just to give a bit more protection down that side, and that is where their Hibs' their biggest threat is Nicky Cadden in terms of the build-up play, and he is on the left wing back. So if you have Moose on that side, he provides a bit more solidity and protection, and then it still gives you a decent balance. So I would say the more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, I honestly think a wider formation. I think first of all, we've seen Critchley just change it out of the blue, and sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, I would say as well. But he's kind of changed things, but there's always been some thinking behind it. You can always see what the kind of thinking behind it is, at least. And I think that given the form that Hibs are in, the things that you've described there, if you look at the last two matches, Hearts were vulnerable to that crossfield pass at times. And then for St Mirren's goal, they were vulnerable to Declan John coming in at the back post. That's Nicky Cadden's game all day this season.
Yeah.
So, but I think that possibly, this is just me surmising here, but possibly you would think that, well, I'm willing to take the risk against St Johnstone, bottom of the league, or I'm willing to take the risk against St Mirren, we're at home, regardless of their result against Rangers at the weekend, and you can get away with it most of the time because they maybe don't have as much quality as some other teams to kind of win those one-on-ones when they do get them and those kind of things. With Hibs, the form they're in, and with Nicky Cadden being one of the best players on that run of form that they're in, yes, and not being too bad on the other side either as well, I should add. I think I'm with you. I think we might see something that's a bit wider. But even then, just before I throw it back to you, even 4-4-2 diamond or 4-2-4, I don't think it matters. The way Critchley plays, it's risky. It leaves. I can't remember. There was one game. Was it the Boxing Day game actually, where we were? It was pretty much 4 pressed up really high, and they got torn apart. So I don't know. Maybe there might be something different, like you suggested, more of a 4-2-3-1 or something.
Yeah. Just obviously Shankland, I just see him as more of a 10, certainly at the moment. But what I would say is it's kind of back to that situation, just especially with the derby, that it's hard to see an 11 which gets approval from everyone, buy-in from everyone. Just I think there are maybe PF fans who are a wee bit worried about the diamond formation going to Easter Road. Others quite like it, and it gets probably more attacking options into the team. I think that's something that Critchley's mentioned. Either way, one thing that should give us encouragement is that he can change it, and we've seen it. The guys coming off the bench have had a really positive impact. We've seen it midweek. George Grant and Kenneth Vargas, a wee bit maligned within the Hearts sport. They came off the bench and had a positive impact. And it's not just them. Other guys have had it in the last few weeks. Khartoum coming off the bench and has looked positive. So either way, we do know that if things aren't going our way, that it can be changed. And there's guys that you can either change formation or change the personnel, and it can have a positive effect. And that's why I quite like the idea of Wilson coming as being more of an impact sub. But yeah, we'll see.
We will indeed. Derek Anderson says, I'd like to see Spittle start on the left-hand side, transformed once he came on. I agree. I think the only reason he didn't play against St Mirren was rotation. I think it has coincided with Nieuwenhof being ready to start a game. But yes, I think if Hearts are picking their strongest team, Spittle is in there, whether that's on the side of a diamond or whether that is on the left of midfield.
I know I think there's very little difference in terms of where Spittle is on the left of on the left wing or tucked in as the left of the diamond. It's like the positions doesn't really change too much, but you definitely see that Penrice and Spittle are more effective as a partnership when it's Spittle is playing as a left winger, cutting in rather than a kind of central midfield diamond.
Yeah, but the dynamic has changed, as I pointed out to you. The dynamic has changed in recent weeks with Cabangu occupying that sort of channel and left half space sometimes, and sometimes the pass is going into him while Penrice is still making the run and things like that. So yeah, they're still, as Critchley's pointed out himself, they're still very much evolving. I'm just having a look at some of the other kind of like team news type stuff here. I suppose this fits into how the game could go from the Gorgie Boys podcast. What I like with Critchley is he doesn't go anywhere to sit in and defend, so this could be very open. I don't think he will change the diamond formation. So we've kind of covered what we were talking about, the formation there. But on that first point, that's it, isn't it? I mean, he says it. He backs it up with how Hearts go out there. I'm sure there's some games or there's some parts within games where Hearts will take a more defensive approach under Critchley at times. I think we kind of saw that in the likes of Copenhagen and things like that. He's not just going to go gung-ho for the sake of it. But yeah, I think we will see this Hearts team attack. They won't go and they will give Hibs respect, but I don't think they'll go with any fear to attack them.
No, I absolutely not. I think it's a mindset that Critchley, or a kind of game plan that Critchley wants to take into every single game. Whether it's whether there'll be tweaks here and there, but it's not as if Hearts are going to go. The idea is to go to Easter Road and not get beat. It's very much with the mindset: go to Easter Road and win, which would be significant on various levels. Yes,
definitely. I thought I was on mute for a second there, so I went to kind of related. A couple of things related to what you said there. Scott Walker, by the way, I loved your third album, Scott Walker. Their luck has to run out. They're not as good as most think. Why are we worried about them? Now, they've been very, very good, right? And I agree. It's not going to, like Aberdeen, it's not going to last forever. It's not going to lead to like a title challenge or anything along those lines. They're not going to go unbeaten for the rest of the season. But if I was them, I'd be worried that Hearts were going to come and end this result. And I'd be worried if Hearts were in poor form. And I would also be worried if the shoe was on the other foot. We've seen it happen so many times. So I do have a bit of, I don't know if you share this, but I have a bit of quiet confidence because of the run Hibs are on, and there will be that trepidation that they don't want to lose it to Hearts on their own patch.
Yes, can I get up so we can get the actual words? But I took a lot of heart when I seen Hibs fans and Tannadice, the banner that Hibs fans had at Tannadice during the week says Derby week. This is our city, and I don't know. I don't know if I've just grown up within the Derby. Hubris from a Hibs side, it doesn't often work, and I feel more confident going into our derby when Hibs are really confident, although I've probably said the same when we were going into the Boxing Day games. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think Scott says, just if you win, it's a different game. If you win your battles early on, and if first goal is important in every game. But in this game specifically, I think it's going to be crucial in terms of the psychological edge it can give. So it's just get there, win your individual battles, and then we've got the match winners to win the match. We've got guys off the bench that can that can help, and hopefully come, I don't know, probably be 1:15, 2:15, probably about 2:30. I really do not want to have to hear Sunshine of Leaf.
They're going to win the league for the third week in a row, aren't they? I don't know. Shouldn't be complaining about celebrations. It's one of the joys of football. Just a couple other two comments related to team news before we move on to the significance of the game and finish up. Hi guys, you got news on this today. This is from Hearts Key Moments. Just a quick one. Do we have any update on Kent, Kingsley and Halkett? And just related, before you do jump in, Colin is asking, when Kent is fit specifically out of the three, how do you see him fitting in?
So on the first one, I asked Critchley about the three of them. He said they're all on the pitch, they're all doing running, but they're still going to be a few weeks away. They're not close to contention yet. So the second question, it's not something we have to worry about for a wee while, but it's competition. That's all it is. I would be surprised if we go into next season with Kent, Halkett and Steinwender. I think I would be. There's three right-sided centre-backs. I think it's going to be probably going into next season, two from those three. It's hard to. It's if Kent comes back, it's basically he's going to have competition for position in the team, and it seems like Hearts under Critchley play with a back four. So yeah, he'll have to fight for his place. That's how he fits in.
And that wasn't the one I meant to bring up. Sorry, Harry Strutt said, got it from the horse's mouth. He's seen Kent before the game last week and said he's back in March, which I still. Well, I suppose is tomorrow, but at the same time, it could be the end of March. Yeah. One last comment to kick us off on our last topic: the significance of this weekend. You wrote in your preview piece that it's significant for Neil Critchley. Now, this is partly down to how some Hearts fans can be around Derby records, how precious they can be about it. Sometimes that's the only thing that matters, is getting the better of them over the 4 games and finishing above them in the league. And Critchley has not got off to a great start. Stephen Anthony Joseph has said Critchley needs a Derby win. He kind of does, because then if he doesn't this weekend, a draw's a decent result. Yeah. If he loses it, it then puts pressure on him going into subsequent derbies, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it in people speaking on social media already. Seen it with mates referring to the derby, and it's something it's a barometer. It is, and it should be a barometer for all Hearts managers, is the ability to win derbies, because derbies are really, really important, and fans quite rightly put stock in them. And I think again it comes back to the mentality. Some Hibs fans will talk about this as well. The mentality of the two supports or clubs going into the derby. Hearts generally treat it. I'm just talking in general terms. Treat it with far more importance, and that's why you need to win those games. And there's more. There's an element of pressure that comes with that. I think Critchley is aware of that as well. So it is. It's a big game, and like you said, draw's not terrible, considering, because you've got all the credit he's built up and the form that the team has been on, and from where the team have been to where they are now. The issue with the defeat will be a difficult one, and there'll be a lot of disgruntlement, and it puts a lot of pressure on the Dundee game, because fans will look at that and see Hearts as potentially being 7-8 points behind third place, and you are kind of then looking at the cup as a way to get that the big European jackpot. So yeah, it's a really big game for how some fans view Critchley, and it's also a really big game for Hearts because just in general, the opportunities there for Critchley to land probably his first statement win since becoming Hearts head coach, and also the opportunity for it to act as a springboard for the rest of the season. If Hearts go to Hibs and win, and then that puts us right in amongst the hunt for third place, and then also what it means to Hibs to having lost this big unbeaten or this really good run, and at home to us essentially.
Yeah, who'd then be right on their coattails. And not only that, just to add to what you've said, Aberdeen and Dundee United are playing each other this weekend as well. So something has to give in that game. So
yeah, by the time they kick off, we hopefully will be 2 points behind Aberdeen.
I know, which is actually, we should just pause to... I remember Pittodrie earlier in the season, the 3-2 defeat. Sure, it was you asked Blair Spittle about whether Aberdeen 19 points ahead at that point or something, whether there was... I can't remember how you asked the question, but you did ask it in a sort of non-ridiculous way about can you still sort of catch Aberdeen? Have those plans been shelved or whatever? And I think Spittle gave a fairly diplomatic answer. He didn't really give your media speak answer. But yeah, I suppose we just pause for a second to like how incredible first Aberdeen's fall has been, and the turnaround under Critchley. He's got the third best points per game ratio since he's taken over.
Yeah, and not just that. If you extrapolate it out, the record Hearts have in the league, if you extrapolate it out over a league season under Critchley, it's 64 points. So like that's more points than 5 of the last 8 Hearts teams to finish third have achieved. So there's marked improvement. As George Downey says, we have a far better team now than the Boxing Day game. Bring on the Hibs. So there's a lot to be positive going into this game because of where we've been and where we've come from to be in this position. It's a mixture of the craziness of what this league season has been, but also just how good and probably at times understated the turnaround has been, just because it kind of started positively and then be a bit inconsistency, that terrible 14 days in December towards the end where there was a lot of nonsense. And you go back to that Ross County game when we're coming down the road from Dingwall and you're just like, where does this team go next? Looking brilliant and then losing a 2-0 lead with from the 95th minute. And the way they've responded to that has been excellent. The way they responded to missing that penalty against Aberdeen has been excellent as well. So yeah, there should be a lot of confidence going into Sunday's game. I'm really excited about it. I don't tend to get as nervous about derby games now as after the 2012 Cup final. That was a pinnacle. So it's kind of like what's there to be nervous about now? But no, I'll be come Sunday. It'll be a mixture of nerves and a lot of excitement.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up to be a really exciting one. It's shaping up to be a really good one, although, as I kind of said at the end of the last video, I'm not going to get too excited because I've seen this happen before and they regularly churn out some of the worst football matches you've ever seen. So, fingers crossed we get a good game and it's an end of this unbeaten run for Hibs. Is there any other business you have to add before we get out of here, Joe?
No, the only other thing was to say, I've meant to say at the start of the video, is that just with the settings on our videos, our live videos now, if you want to comment while it's going on, or even comment after, just hit the subscribe button, and then within a minute you'll be able to comment.
It's completely free.
Yeah, it's completely free. So that's just that's going forward. It's just a change to the settings.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And
roll on Sunday.
Yes, San Francisco Jambo has been a rough couple of weeks for him. He's having to get up at 4:30 a.m. again.
An extra half hour in bed, that's right.
So yes, good luck to you getting up for that. Good luck to Hearts going into this weekend. I don't know why I'm just doing a big round of good luck here. I should just say bye. Get out of here. Check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk. There's plenty of previews going up for this. I am putting the finishing touches. It's 10 years to the day since Hearts beat Cowdenbeath 10-0. I'm putting finishing touches to an article about that. I've spoken to a few people that were involved. Legends such as Gennaro Seafook, Jamie Walker, and Laurie Dunsire. So if you want to check that out, that'll be on the site tomorrow. Until then, we will be back on Sunday with a video, I guess, after the game. But until then, we'll see you all soon.